So go ahead and close your eyes, please. And take a breath. Say hello to a grounding cord, please, a fresh, new grounding cord. Noticing your day off yesterday. We didn't have a formal meditation. So how did your day go yesterday? Did you have a grounding cord on? Were you conscious? Were you aware? Or did you just need to go unconscious? Noticing how it was for you. And then dropping that grounding cord into present time, please. Fresh new one. Really focus on your hips, please. Focus on that first chakra. Sending a hello to that first chakra. Letting that grounding cord attach and go straight down. Make sure it's nice and wide, nice and fat, all the way down. Right to the center of the earth. Visualizing the center of the earth, please. Noticing what it looks like to you. One of the things that I would hope that you're experiencing doing these meditations is being more real in your life. I've talked about this a little bit, about spiritually bypassing. It's so important to stay grounded. The more energy work you do, the more conscious you become. It's not to justify and bypass things that are difficult or lump everything into love and light. It's very important to stay conscious and present and aware about what's really going on. Sometimes life is really hard. Sometimes it sucks. And it's really important to be present with that and to not just kind of stay in your own magical bubble of love and light. It's really important for you to be able to be real with circumstances, the situations that are happening in your life. Be pissed when you're pissed. Be happy when you're happy. Be in love, always. I've been talking to people that have been doing 30 days, and sometimes it's just amazing to me. It's like, wake up. You're not doing spiritual practice to be perfect, to have a perfect environment, and to write everything off as, oh, I'm just going to relate with that in light and love. Sometimes it's your job to get really angry or to make a boundary, to keep yourself safe, to protect yourself. What's the saying? Trust in God, trust in Allah, but tie your camel. Do your work. Ground every day. Set your intention on light and love. But then be real to what's happening as the day unfolds. And you try your best to bring joy and love and light to everything. Sometimes you need to bring your anger forward to the situation. Sometimes you need to bring something else besides what. Just notice if you are creating a perfect picture around your spirituality. I've talked about this a few times. Are you becoming elite or special in some way because you're doing a spiritual practice? If you are, you're probably going to get tested. If you're trying to remain in this perfect bubble of love and light all the time, anger and pain might try to knock on your door to bring balance to you. So a good question to always ask is, what brings wholeness? What would bring wholeness to this situation? Not, I'm trying to be perfect. I want everyone to notice any perfect pictures that you're trying to create a static spiritual environment for yourself where you never have to experience pain or resistance again. You're lying to yourself. Or if you're trying to let everything be okay and everyone be okay, oh, that's okay. I can justify anything with a spiritual attitude. Anything is okay with a spiritual attitude. Just because you can have any situation or walk through any situation doesn't mean that it's okay. You still have to have opinions. You still have to have preference. It's not okay for someone to treat you badly or to do something badly in the world. It's not okay. You have to be able to be present with it and not leave your body or disassociate. But it doesn't have to be okay. Pain and suffering aren't okay. Abuse is not okay. So I want you to check yourself, please, and notice any spiritual bypassing that you do, or spiritual justification is another way to describe it. Any perfect pictures that you're trying to manifest in you. People do this a lot physically. If I meditate and run my energy and do everything I can, then I won't get sick. Bullshit. You will get sick. You are gonna die. Some people feel a tremendous amount of guilt if they do get sick, like they did something wrong. That's also pretty not the truth. So just noticing any spiritual ego, noticing any perfect pictures that are being created as you've been meditating, as you've been doing your due diligence every day. Because just when you think you're safe or you're protected or you're susceptible. I'm spiritual. I'm not susceptible to that. That's when that comes knocking on your door. And this is really hard to look at. I've had to look at this for myself. We all need to look at this. What can we not have? It's very hard to have pain and suffering. It's very hard to have abuse and difficulties that happen in the world. Sometimes it's very hard. And of course we want to do anything we can to shift them, to douse them with love and light. So take a breath, be right behind your eyes in the center of your head. Create a rose out in front of you, please. Visualize a rose out in front of you. And just say hello to any spiritual ego that you're manifesting. Remember, we're all going together. No one can you can take a few steps out of the pack occasionally, but for the most part, we're all in this together. And let that rose just start to magnetize out any spiritual ego where you try to separate yourself. The more spiritualized you become, the more you are aware of your oneness, hopefully. The more you are aware of your similarity, the more you are in touch with what you are truly capable of. Because you are truly capable of the worst of the worst and the best of the best. So if you're one of those people that has a hard time, I'm not saying that we should all be capable of mass murder, but if you're one of those people that has a hard time with situations, painful situations in your life, you need to practice running your anger more through your body. Not to hurt anyone, not to express it in a negative way, but learning to run negative emotion through your body in a healthy way gives us greater perspective. When we can run negative emotion, pain or resistance or anger through our bodies in a healthy way, we gain a tremendous amount of insight and compassion. Because no one on this planet is, what's the word? Separated, that's not quite the right word, but from negative emotion or hard, painful experiences. So once again, if you have a hard time with pain and suffering that happens around you or in your life, you need to practice running anger. What do the hard experiences, the painful experiences truly make you feel? Painful experiences don't really make you feel love and light right away. Most painful experiences evoke sadness, fear, pain, resistance, or anger in us. And I want you to notice if you bypass those negative emotions and move right into love and light. it's so important not to skip the first step, and it's so important to feel the anger, pain, resistance, sadness that might be moving through you. Feel that first, express that first, and then you can start to relate to what's happening in a higher vibration, maybe through love, through light. Be very careful not to bypass these emotions, because they will become your shadow, and they will gain strength. The more you ignore them, the more they will gain strength. So yesterday I screamed. I turned away. I don't project it onto anybody. I will go in another room. I will go outside. But anger has been, when I'm really in touch, I'm angry about things that happen. I get pissed off when painful things happen. I get so frustrated. And so I'm making it a practice to go outside and just scream. Go in another room and just scream and let that anger move through me. And it literally takes seconds. It's moved through me. I process it on that level, and then I can relate to it in a more present, whole way. So if you're trying to swallow what's happening around you, if you're struggling in your job and you're trying to swallow it, if you're trying to bypass and make everything okay, I have to learn how to be okay with this situation. Bullshit. You don't have to be okay with it. You have to feel how not okay you are with the situation before it can shift. A lot of times I yell, I hate this, or this isn't okay with me. This sucks. You have to be in touch with the reality of how you really are relating to every situation, especially the negative ones, because they can go into the shadow and really hold a lot of power. It usually manifests when people are spiritually bypassing as little gaps in your chakras, little gaps in your energy field, where you skip a circuit, where something painful happens and you swallow it and you go, I'm going to justify this and make it okay. You skipped a step. You skipped your immediate reaction, your immediate feeling. And you tried to go straight to neutrality. And it happens on the other side of things, too. When something really good happens in your life, most people bypass feeling great amounts of joy, great amounts of bliss, great amounts of love. They swallow it and go right into, I'm cool, everything's okay. And they try to find some neutral place. So I want you to be very aware in your body of any gaps that you might be creating. Because there is a lot of shit circulating on this planet that we have to be able to filter through our bodies very fast. You can't get hung up on the resistance and pain because there is a lot of it. You have to be able to move it through, process it through, move through all of those, all the people at work that frustrate you or you can't stand. Go in your car and scream your head off for a minute. So I want you to focus on that rose that we created and let that rose start to pull out any spiritualized perfect pictures. I have to be an angel. No, you don't. Angels are boring. Angels are only stuck in one side of the spectrum. You have to be able to thrash. You have to be able to move your anger through your body, not project, not in a harmful way. Again, this is the difference between someone that is doing harm in the world and someone that is not. Someone that is doing harm in the world, harming other people or creating negative situations, is projecting their pain, their anger, their resistance, their sadness onto other people. This is the difference. If you learn to run these emotions without projecting them onto situations or onto people, if you learn to run them create space to run them, you will be moving into greater balance and harmony. This energy, this negative energy, and you will be helping to process the negative energy on this planet. So many of you that are so sensitive feel so much. You feel the pain, you feel the sadness, you feel the hardship happening on the planet, and you're bypassing it and trying to justify it in some way. This is what causes disease in our bodies. When we swallow, I can't stand this, but I'm gonna radiate my love. That's not how it works. You skipped a step, go back to the beginning, feel how much you can't stand what is happening in your life. Move it through your body. This is why I also dance a lot. Moving it through with dance, moving negative emotions through the body physically is so important. People run because of this, to process those negative emotions. People exercise to help do this. But moving that negative emotion through the body physically, then you can do something. You can move into a different energy. So let that rose just be pulling out any spiritual perfect pictures. It's almost like numbness. These little gaps create numbness. I'm not going to feel that. I'm just going to move into la la la. This is why people have this attitude that spiritual stuff is mumbo jumbo or too airy fairy, because there's a grit of life that's missing in most people's spiritual practice. If you step out of the grit, you're stepping out of this expression you're stepping out of life. You're ungrounding yourself. And sometimes it's just a second or 10 seconds. It's just a fraction of a moment where you swallow something, you bypass something. It takes great training and great presence. It takes a very powerful presence practice to catch yourself from skipping, from bypassing. Some people are working with diseases and physical ailments, and it's really good to try to do what you can energetically to heal yourself. But there also becomes a line, and I want to say this too, because this is the year, 2012 is the year to shift anything that's happening within your physical world that is no longer working for you. This is the year that it will either collapse or you'll shift it. So if you've had physical ailments that have been wearing on you for years that you've been trying to spiritually heal, go get it. Go get the surgery that needs to happen to help you to help you finish it. This is the year to finish whatever is not working for you. Finish it. Leave a job that's not working. Get the surgery you need to get. Change the physical structure. This is the year to change physical structures, physical systems that no longer serve our lives. Because if you don't change them, they could kill you. It might be the end of cycles. Either way, it is the end of cycles. You either change it or they might change for you. So just breathe, please. This is about getting more conscious, more real with yourself. It pisses me off more than anything when people take these practices and bypass something that is happening in your life. A relationship that is shitty that you've needed to step out of for a long time. You keep justifying it and saturating it with love and light. It is not okay. Sometimes your lesson is to leave. This is why I swear sometimes. This is why you have to be able to move into the shadow. You have to be able to live there. You have to be able to own it for yourself. That's the only way it will transform. You have to be able to run negative emotion through your body in a healthy, positive way, because it's never going to go away. You will have negative emotion until the breath you die. And there are people on the planet, I look at this all the time, that are so psychically sensitive that they are here and they're just eating up everyone's negative emotion that they can't have. And then they burst through disease, or they burst and they act it all out. The scapegoat. There's usually a scapegoat in the family, the one that got into trouble the most, the one that did bad things. They're usually the ones that process all of the unconscious negative emotion of everybody else. This is what I mean. When you start to run your own negative emotion, you can start to have more compassion, and you will become more real to what's happening in the world. When you feel your hate and your anger, you can more easily have the people that are doing damage. You can find compassion. You can find true neutrality to these people only if you're running those emotions yourself in a healthy, positive way. I want to nail this one home because I'm sick of hearing people bypass. It's so destructive. It is so destructive to spiritually woo-woo your life away. Get real, get gritty, get dirty. Swear, cuss. Do whatever, and that's my way of doing it in small ways. You just have to do it in little ways all the time. To not be perfect. To not be afraid of something going wrong. Because shit is going to go wrong. So think about that for a moment. Think about a space in your life that you struggle with, a relationship, an event, whatever it is that you struggle with. And how can you create a space to, in a healthy way, process the negative emotion that's arising? For some of you, it's at work. You struggle at work. where is a space that you can let some of this energy move through your body? And it really is through, like, yelling, screaming. It really is through, like, sometimes I will, like, punch the air really strongly so that energy really strongly moves through me physically. Where is a place, so if sometimes you can't scream at the top of your lungs, you can move it through physically. That's why I punch the air sometimes. But where is a place that you can imagine, the bathroom, your car, that you can start going, you know, if someone just pisses you off to no end, rather than swallowing it, where can you go to move it through your body in a healthy way? And oftentimes, if it's about a person, if you're just like, oh my God, I just want to kill this person, or I'm so upset, or this person drives me up the wall, or what the, you know, if it's about an actual person, what is a good idea to do is put up a rose between you and that person. That I don't want to project this onto that person, but I need to move this through my body. And you move it through physically, you move it through your voice, through movement, and you get it out. Punching pillows is a great thing. If you really drop in, you'll start to feel this tension in your body just by talking about it. The hatred and the anger builds up in our bodies and causes it causes a hardening in the shoulders and hardening in the bones, a calcification, a buildup, a lack of being flexible or tolerant. Doing your spiritual work doesn't mean I'm not supposed to feel this way. You're supposed to feel everything. Be neutral and present and able to feel everything. That's what consciousness is, feeling everything. It's not, this isn't supposed to bother me anymore. Yes, it is. It's supposed to really bother you if you're present. Tremendously bother you. If you're not being bothered anymore in your life, you're spiritually bypassing. But what is the difference between a conscious person and an unconscious person? Is an unconscious person will either negatively act it out in the world or their relationships, or they will swallow it and ignore it. A conscious person will feel it, move it through in a non-destructive way. So if you're not moving your body, if you're not exercising, you're probably spiritually bypassing, and you're probably storing a tremendous amount of pain in your body. So this is a call. This is a meditation about move it. Get your butt moving. Get that voice going. I did it probably 3 times yesterday. I turned away from my family. I went in another room. But there's something about, too, my husband witnessing me, because a lot of times I will want to project it onto my husband, my anger. So I've been just staying in the same room with him, turning away from him completely, putting up a rose, and screaming like, oh, I can't stand this, or whatever is happening. And he will react to me. I'm training him to be able to have me doing this. He'll go, oh, my God. And I'll turn around and say, it's okay. I needed to feel this. Just let me be. And then it clears out of the room within seconds. I'm not holding resistance. He's not upset or angry at me. It's like gone. If you process it, if you move it through, the energy just is gone. So, you know, finding a safe place or sometimes separating from yourself from the situation is really important. But if it's with the people that you really love the most, it's really important for them to learn how to witness you being angry, being pissed off, but not projecting it onto them. Going, it's not, I'm not putting this on you, it's not about you, but I need to feel this. Because then we all grow. We're all learning how to process the hard stuff. The easy stuff, that's what's easy. It's easy. So I want you to be aware of the people that are irking you, the situations that you're struggling with, and I want you to really be conscious of how you are processing that energy. Do you go home and tap out in front of the TV or computer? If you're doing that, you are storing pain. You are storing resistance. You are storing it in your body, and it will have to be processed in some way, through sickness, through outbursts, through karma in another lifetime. Take your pick, but it will be processed one way or the other. So you can consciously learn how to do it and start to flex and practice expressing this muscle, or it's going to work itself out in another way. Is someone in your family eating your negative emotion for you, especially if you have children? If you're not processing this bullshit for yourself, your children will eat it for you and then have to process it later in their lives. You ever look at a kid that's really struggling, and why they're really struggling? They're processing their parents' negative emotions they can't have. If you find someone that's really airy-fairy and all love and light and woo-wooed out, there's probably someone around them that is really struggling because they're processing all of the negative emotions of the spiritually bypassed person. Don't be one of those people. Take responsibility for your wholeness. Taking responsibility for your wholeness is absolutely radiating your love and being in your light. And it is also processing and feeling and staying connected to the shit and to the pain that you feel and to the resistance that is hard. Consciousness is about staying awake to everything. Being present means being present with everything. Becoming conscious doesn't mean that the hard stuff automatically goes away. But I will tell you, life gets easier the more you process the negative stuff through your body. It only takes moments rather than days. Have you ever had fights with your partner that sometimes take days or weeks to resolve? It's because someone is holding the negative emotion and they won't move it through. If you move it through, it dissipates, it goes. It's not there anymore. Unresolved issues are someone holding negative emotion. They won't move it through. They won't acknowledge the hatred or the pain or the resistance or the struggle. As soon as both people can acknowledge it for themselves and take responsibility for what they feel in their bodies, it will move through and neutralize. And it's like, oh yeah, what was that about? I don't even remember why I was mad, but I was really pissed off. So be right behind your eyes in the center of your head. Say hello to your grounding cord, please. Are you grounding in to your negative emotion? Same thing. This reminds me too of people that are very connected into the world, things that are happening in the world. if you watch the news or read the newspapers, which I do not recommend either. But my husband does a lot, and he keeps me up to date on politics and things. But I told him to not share any violent things with me because they're really hard for me to process, and because I feel them so deeply. But this is really important. If you watch the news or read the papers or anything like that, you have to be processing that energy through somehow. Either stop watching it or get really good at processing anger, resistance, pain, sadness. You have to process it some way or another. You know, and it's much easier to deal with the anger and sadness and pain that arises in your life and your universe versus the pain that, you know, is being caused by people that are really stuck. People that are really stuck and don't know how to deal with these emotions do a lot of damage. These are people that are raping and murdering, and they're stuck. They have become stuck in the negative emotion, and then it has to come out somehow. Or these people are the really sensitive ones on the planet, and they're pulling in negative emotion for people around them. So be very careful of what you choose to bring in if you're learning how to process negative emotion. Learn with the simple stuff. Take baby steps. Process the negative emotion when, you know, your partner says something stupid to you that makes you upset. If you can process it then and go, you know, I said to my husband the other day, but it becomes, we're learning how to do it. But I yelled at him the other day. I was like, fuck you! And even while I was doing it, I started laughing because it was like so absurd. He did something really minute, very small, but it made me so upset. And so you have to learn how to do this in a light way, in an easy way, and it can actually become not fun, but kind of fun. So be gentle. Don't try to process the negative emotion of, you know, a Holocaust or something. That would be that. But I also don't watch Holocaust movies because of that reason. It's hard to process really intense negative emotion on that level. Start with the little stuff, please. Start with dealing with the person that drives you up the wall, makes you bananas at work. That's a good one. That's a good one to work on. And if you're not processing it within, you know, if they irk you and you don't go to the bathroom and release the energy, if you don't go and stomp your feet, that's why kids throw temper tantrums. They need to move the energy some way. So go in the bathroom and have a tantrum. If you can't do it within the moment that it's happening, it will build up in your system. But at least go exercise after work with the intention of, okay, I'm going to release all this bullshit from work today. And you really work out hard to move it out. If you wait to move the energy out and you don't express it in the moment, it is a little harder for it to move through. If you express it in the moment or a few moments after, it's much easier to release. So breathe, please. Can you be spiritual and be angry as hell? Can you call yourself conscious and not be perfect? If you're trying to perfect something in your life, perfect your demeanor or your behavior in any way, it ain't going to work. So breathe into your non-perfection, sloppy wholeness, please. And feel your heart. If you're not connected to your heart, this is the other thing. If you're not connected to the other side of the spectrum, to your light, to your heart, and you're trying to process negative emotion, you will get stuck in negative emotion as well. So it's really important to be in your heart as you're throwing your temper tantrum, to be aware of yourself as whole light, to be aware of the other side of the spectrum as you are cursing and hating the experience that you're in. So say hello to your wholeness, please. Be right behind your eyes in the center of your head. This is what I mean when I say that all the time. Say hello to your ability to radiate light and love and goodness and joy, as well as your ability to radiate anger, pain, and resistance and sadness. If you're not doing both, you're not stepping into your wholeness. Breathe, please. Create a rose out in front of you for confusion. So many of us for lifetimes have created spiritual perfect pictures. And what I'm saying often creates a great amount of confusion within you. But does that mean that people get very confused around this idea of wholeness? There's a lot of confusion around processing or feeling or acting out your negative emotion. So focus on that rose and let that rose just start to attract, pull out any confusion that you might be experiencing in your head, in your body, where I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to be in my negative emotion and still spiritually balanced. If you're truly present and being present in the moment, you will start to get it. If you're truly connected and grounding into your body, you will start to feel when someone really pisses you off. And before you neutralize it, you must feel it. So let that rose collect up any confusion that's starting to swirl around in your body and your aura. Focus on the rose and let that rose just move around you. You don't have to know how. You just have to stay present and connected and give everything permission. Give all of your wholeness permission, all of your emotions permission, not just the good ones or the fluffy, nice ones. All of them need a place within your life. All of them need expression in your life. Letting the shadow breathe, letting the shadow have space every day. Owning your own shadow, finding balance in your light and your dark is so good for the planet. By you owning your negative parts, it's almost more important for you to own your negative shit than for you to own your light and love. The light and love doesn't need, light and love is light and love. It's not doing damage on the planet. What's really doing damage on the planet is our unowned bullshit. So it's time for you to take responsibility of your unowned bullshit, or the bullshit you swallow, or the bullshit you ignore. Today, track it all day long. Track the bullshit that you aren't feeling. Track it in your car. A lot of times it will be yours, but a lot of times it won't be yours, and it's just as important to feel it and move it through. If it's in the car and all of a sudden you feel road rage, I do all the time. When I drive, it's like all of a sudden I get pissed as hell. I was like, wow, this is intense, but I am pissed. Feel it, move it through, let it be. Don't try to justify it. Don't try to separate from it. Move everything through today. That's your challenge. To be present with the reality, to be more real today. How real can you be today? Can you be in the shit and trust in your heart? The only way that you can let yourself really feel the pain, resistance, anger, sadness, the negative emotions of life is if you trust in your heart and you trust in yourself. If you don't trust in yourself, you won't want to feel them because you are afraid you might do something bad. I've learned that the masculine does this a lot. They're afraid that they will hurt someone because testosterone is such an intense hormone and it's very extended outwards. Are you afraid that you will damage something or someone if they witness you in your anger or your pain? This is why it's good for men to have a space where they're around other men, because it's very hard, and vice versa. It's very good for women to have a space with other women, because it's very hard to, it takes a while for, if I were to flip out in my kitchen in front of a close female friend, they would be like, okay. It takes a little bit more for my husband to palate my anger than it does for a female friend. And same with men. It takes a little bit more for a woman to witness a man in their anger. It can be scary than it does for another man. Another man could hold a man's anger a lot easier. So this is what I mean by creating the structures in your life to support every part of you. You have the structures in your life that support your negative emotion. Do you have a men's group, a women's group, where you can go and you can bitch? Women need to bitch sometimes. Bitch, 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 bitch. So that it's not leaking out to everybody. Men need a place where they can really let their anger rip, their rage rip, where it won't affect or damage. Sometimes I process the small stuff with my husband. If it's something that I'm really pissed off about, I will take it elsewhere because I don't want it to damage our relationship. If it's something big, take it to a safe container, a truly safe container, where you're not going to damage a relationship. Practice the small stuff, being witnessed in the small stuff. The big stuff, make sure you have a container for. Find a women's group. Find a men's group. Again, I am saying this. You have to have places for all the different parts of you to be expressed. Where is your light and your love expressed? Where do you express those? Is your family, is your intimate relationship the space that gets your light and your love? Hopefully it is. I don't go into that much of my deep negative emotion in my family container because it's not appropriate. My family container, my agreement in my family container is based on joy, adventure, fun, light, and love, and that's what we are manifesting together. So I make sure I have another container that can hold and that I can really move into my negative emotion, my pain, my sadness, my grief. So I want you to think, where are you putting your light and your love today? Where are the containers for you to express that? And where are the containers for you to express your anger, your hatred, your pain, your sadness, and your resistance. Bathrooms are great. Bathrooms are where the shit comes out, literally and figuratively. Let the shit come out in the bathroom. So go throw your temper tantrum in the bathroom. Let it move through your muscles, your jaw, your voice. Building the structures in our life that help us step into all of our wholeness is so important. That's your work today. That's your homework. Being real, staying with everything you feel, every little bleep. Females have the capacity to feel 100 different emotions every minute. Can you be that present with yourself to feel everything? Take a breath, be right behind your eyes in the center of your head. Create a huge golden sun full of your wholeness. Can I really have my wholeness? If you have trouble with anything in the external world, you need to practice running more of your negative emotion. Pop that gold sun and let that wholeness, all of your light, all of your goodness, all of your sadness, all of your pain, let all of who you are, a 360-degree spectrum of light, be validated. Let validation come in to your body. Validating that you are the light and you are the darkness. Validating yourself. Validating all of who you are. Let that golden light be filled with validation as you move it into your body, as you move it into all of you, into the front of you, into the back of you, into the conscious parts, into the unconscious parts. Learning to run your negative emotion brings consciousness to those parts. This is what it's about. This is what the spiritual mumbo-jumbo shit is about. Getting present, getting conscious about everything, not avoiding or bypassing anything, but learning how to relate with all of it in a healthy, balanced way. Breathing in more golden light into your legs, into your arms, into your torso, into all of your organs. This is when you run negative emotion in a healthy way, it heals your body so fast. So fast. And sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes you got to go get the shit cut out. Get gritty today. Can you be a little gritty but still trust in your heart and still know that you are light? The only reason I can step into my shadow is because I know and I trust my light more than anything. I know that that is the guiding principle of my life. My light is, my heart is, and because of that, I can go to these edgy places within me. Because I won't get stuck. I will not get stuck there. So get to know those edgy places in you and trust in your heart. Let that golden sun fill your aura, please, the space around your body. Let that golden light go into your grounding cord. Be right behind your eyes in the center of your head. And say hello to yourself as wholeness, brilliant, beautiful wholeness. Ugly, nasty, pissed off, bitchy wholeness. Present wholeness. And when you're ready, bend over, touch your toes, open your eyes, stretch, and stay real today. Hasta mañana.